Jumbo, fellow adventurers, and welcome back to Your Wish is the Universe's Command, our second installment of 3 in this free webinar series. And this topic, this webinar, is all about how to discover what you really want, which, as I said at the end of our last one, is a little muddied up in these primitive times that we live because we've been messing with the shoulds in the house so much, we've become desensitized and we hardly know what it is we really want anymore. Before I dive in, let's just summarize. Last webinar, we talked about GPS navigation, end results. We talked about the Big Bang and how all manifestations begin with the end in mind, with the thought of the desired. Thoughts become things, the manifestation surely follows as long as we show up, car in gear with baby steps. We also talked about living in a non-neutral universe. And I told you about the absolute magic that is stoked when we show up. And my favorite epiphany that sometimes knocking on one door forces another door we didn't even know that's way cooler to open that would not have opened had we not knocked on that first door. So therefore, show up, take action. The road you arrive on will not be the road you start out on. So start out on any road and you will be led to the road that will take you all the way and beyond. By the way, thanks so much for the awesome comments below. They fill my heart. They give me wind beneath my wings. I'm taking note of all the great questions that you're asking. And in the third installment, there will be some live Q&A time. And if you are able to ride along with us in all 3 of these installments from this series, one lucky person will get a complete coaching session from me, and I can hardly wait. All right, continue to write your questions and your weather postings down below. Tell us where you're at, what you're doing, what makes sense, what's challenging you. And you will find that you are among a lot of wise souls, yourself included. Birds of a feather, that's what we are. I hope you did your homework, by the way. I've got another really cool integrative exercise for you. This one comes complete at the end of this workshop with a full rendition of the Matrix, which I will go into a bit more this session. And it's going to help you literally map out your future so that you can immediately put to use the concepts that we're talking about in these first 2 installments alone, so that you have not only an idealized end result, but traction and baby steps to follow on a plan of your own creation. So I'll tell you at the end again that this email's coming, and have your antennas out. Let's see if there's any more protocol I need to cover. I think not. Are you ready to rock and roll, to discover what you really want? I told you, I know what you want, and you soon will be of that persuasion as well. But let me kick it off with a question. Have you figured out yet what you're going to be when you grow up? Or have you not? Which is the case of 80% of every audience, whether I'm in Asia or down under, Africa, Europe, North or South America, 80%, 8 out of 10 hands go up, reflecting how many people don't yet know what they want to be when they grow up. And I'm speaking to audiences filled with adults, probably ranging from 25 to 75 in some cases. 80% don't know. Here's the thing. We're taught our whole life in these primitive times that you better figure it out, young lady, young man, or middle-aged lady, man, old man, lady, whatever. You better figure it out because no one's going to figure it out for you. And we're also told that we need to act on what it is we want to do and our dreams, otherwise they can't come to pass. But how can we act on that which we're not sure of, and we don't want to make a decision and hang our hat on some post that turns out to be wasn't for us in the beginning anyway, which truly leads to a sense of debilitation, a sense of early defeat. And then we see the secret and we misunderstand it. The law of attraction, oh, the universe is going to save my life. But the universe doesn't show up. It doesn't work that way. You need to change pictures of end results in your mind and show up down any stinking path, even if the paths in front of you, as I said in the last seminar, the last webinar, which was the case for me 21 years ago, all suck. If that's the case, you assess your sucky options, young lady, young man. You give yourself a deadline, 2 days. You choose the least sucky and go. And you don't just choose one, try 2 or 3 out. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. The universe doesn't need you to be a hero or all dramatic and burn your bridges. Come on, that's for the movies. That'll just give you indigestion and sleepless nights. You pick an end result. You surrender the hows to divine intelligence, but you stoke the flames by showing up. The point being, in the old paradigm, when you were told you got to figure it out, and then you knew because they also told you better do something about it, you don't know how to act on it, you don't know what to do because you haven't figured out what it is. Debilitation. I have been in and out of such debilitation my entire life. I remember the first time I was probably 5 years old. 5 years old. This is how awful our society has been heretofore, that even loving guardians don't know what to tell their proteges on how to follow their heart. Back at that age, I remember my favorite treat of all treats. It was my sister's as well, Amanda, 1 year younger than me. If we had been good forever, we would get to ride the little carousel, the little 2-pony carousel outside of the main entrance of the local mall that was coin operated. Whoa, man, that was our treat. I don't know, very, very middle class, if that. Riding the merry-go-round. That was the high point. The other treat was feeding the ducks. Okay, that was our treat if we had been good forever. I can remember the last time that Mom took us to that little merry-go-round. We had been good all day long while she shopped for boring stuff. And she finally set us free. It's your turn. And we ran across the mall, 2 little kids, 4 and 5 years old, feet pitter-patter, pitter-patter. We found our steeds waiting for us outside of the OK Corral. My sister slid up. I slid up. I had one leg on the back of my mount and one leg still on the ground when suddenly I saw it in a way I had never seen it before, and I could no more bring myself to get all the way on, which I desperately wanted to do, nor could I get all the way off and run the other way, which I also desperately wanted to do, given how I now saw it, to the point that Mom caught up and she's like, Mike, honey, what's wrong? And I was like, Mom, it's stupid. Suddenly, it was not a horse riding off into the sunset. Suddenly, it was not a race around that pole that I invariably won against my sister. Of course, she thought she won. Suddenly, it was just plastic. Suddenly, I had outgrown it. Suddenly, I wanted nothing to do, but I couldn't bring myself to get off, because if this is what my ultimate high was, and it now was a piece of plastic junk, and I turned my back on it, what would replace it? I mean, what if there's nothing else there? What if the hokey pokey really is what life is all about? And I was in a state of paralysis, not knowing what to do next. Mom had always been the guru of my life. Rest in peace. And she could see right through me. And she said, Mike, honey, it's okay. This just means you're growing up. There's going to be other stuff. There's going to be better stuff. You just wait. Mom was right. Bigger, better stuff than plastic ponies on a coin-operated carousel showed up. But yet there would be these growth spurts, and I'd be in and out of debilitation, conquering the world. Debilitation, paralysis, conquering the world. I remember when adults ask kids what they want to do. You know, if I had an answer, fireman, police officer, astronaut, oh, good. Adults don't care. But if you have an answer, they celebrate with you. If you don't have an answer, if you don't know what you're going to be when you grow up, oh dear. Oh, Sheila, Mikey doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. Mikey, don't you know you can be anything when you grow up? And it's like, that's the problem. There's too many freaking choices. Those were not my words at age 7 or 8. But you know the feeling now? You haven't figured it out yet? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How can you act? How can you live when there's no dance, when there's no goal, when you don't know who you really are? Oh my God. This never ended. In spite of my great answers, astronaut, fireman, police officer, I became a certified public accountant, or in the Europe and Australia, a chartered accountant. And that was what I wanted. Not quite the ring of astronaut, but that was what I wanted until I didn't. And then it was like, oh, frick, what am I going to do with my life? I literally quit cold turkey. Did not know at age 30 what I would do next. I turned my back on Price Waterhouse, where things were smoking hot. I lived all over the world, New York, Boston, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. I was like, look, I got to figure this out because this is not what I want to do. Debilitation. I wondered if it wasn't the biggest mistake of my entire life. I almost went back, but they wouldn't have me. It's like, oh, what have I done? I was making a ton of money for me at my age back then. Oh my God, I was single, unattached, infinite possibilities. What have I done? And then the t-shirt business came along, and Mom encouraged Andy and I to get into totally unique t-shirts. The beginning of today's tut.com, the first 2 years were miserable. And then we blew it up and things took off. Then it was clear. I knew the path I was on until I didn't. And that's where my dark night of the soul story came in the first webinar. Remember, we decided to liquidate. After 10 years and a great run, it wasn't going to work anymore. And it was suddenly debilitation. I'm on the cusp of 40. My girlfriend has a boyfriend. They talk about looking for a light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't have a tunnel. I didn't know what I would be doing. I had a huge mortgage payment. I was like, what am I going to do now? It was the end of a dream. It was the end of an era. It was like, who am I? I was writing about life, dreams, and happiness, not reaching enough people. And then this train wreck, which, as I told you, in hindsight, wasn't a train wreck. It was a train stopping so it could change tracks and take off and go further, faster, better, and farther. It was the beginning of the biggest dream of my life coming true. But at the time, it looked like a train wreck. Don't trust your physical senses. You can't see the miracles when they're happening. Remember that? Well, the story ends. It's not ending. I'm still on this upward spiral. I got out of my own way. I've learned lessons. These are the lessons I'm teaching, and your wish is the universe's command. But going back to that question, that age-old question that has taunted and tortured humanity, what are you going to be when you grow up? I've had seniors in my audiences come to me and say, Mike, I've been there. I've done that. This stuff works. Thoughts become things. You don't have to tell me. But Mike, you need to create a program that help those of us who have already kind of worn every hat and did every checkbox that we had set out to do. You need to create a program to help us rediscover our passion, find out who we now are, give us a reason to keep on living. And you know what I tell them? I tell them what Mom told me when I was 8 years old. No, 5 years old, when I was debilitated and didn't know if I should ride that plastic pony or not. She said, it's okay, Mike. You're just growing up. There's going to be other things. There's going to be better things. That's what I tell them. And I add, once you stop messing with the cursed house. You've been doing what you thought you should, what you thought you would, what your mom wanted, what your kids wanted, what your partner wanted, and you're so desensitized, you've come to this place that you don't even know what you're going to be when you grow up anymore. And now you might be 65 or 75 years old. This can be avoided if we stop trying to figure out the hows. I'll tell you what little Mikey wanted. I'll tell you what these seniors wanted. I'll tell you what you want. You want happiness. You want joy. You want friends. You want laughter. You want camaraderie. You want to be creatively fulfilled. You said you didn't know what you wanted. How come I know what you want? You want to be in nature. You want to be challenged. You want to laugh more and cry less. How come I know? We have been taught to rearrange the equation into like, yeah, everybody wants that, but how are you going to get there, young lady, young man? And your whole life has been about, how do I get there? To the degree you forgot where there was. Am I not mistaken? You forgot where there was good and plenty, peace and confidence, love and laughter, health and healing. That's what you wanted. And you thought you had to figure out the hows. The ultimate end results, as I shared, and now I hope to bring more clarity to, are those painted with a broad brush. This is where you ought to be. This is who you're going to be when you grow up. You can start chipping away at it, defining it, and feeling it right now. You want to grow up in joy, in love, in financial luxury and abundance, health and healing, longevity, rejuvenation, losing weight, looking great. These broad brush strokes ain't nothing for divine intelligence. You just need to show up, and you need to show up without embroiling and encumbering and limiting divine mind by saying, and this is how, and this is who, and this is where, and this is when. Because you slam shut the door on all other possibilities. The ultimate end result is happiness. But you know what some timid souls would ask me in the early days of me sharing my matrix approach to getting your wishes from the universe granted? They would raise their hand, shy and embarrassed, speaking for the entire flipping audience, I came to find out. They would say, Mike, I get that happiness is the ultimate end result. Mike, it's in every Hallmark greeting card. It's in all the wise quotes from presidents and leaders and politicians, from sport heroes. It's all about the journey. It's all about happiness. I get that happiness is the ultimate end result. But Mike, what if that's all I get? Just happy. You know what I'm talking about? When I finally realized what they were getting at, I was like, oh my gosh, oh, you don't believe in that kind of a universe, do you? That would be a sadistic, mean, juvenile, hair-splitting universe that said, you want the back pain to go away too? You didn't say you wanted friends and laughter. You just said happy. I made you happy. Now go be happy. That's what you asked for. You wanted a partner with benefits, a travel partner, no less, wealth and abundance to go wherever your heart desires. Why didn't you tell me? You just said happy. How am I going to read your flipping mind? Isn't that a juvenile universe? There are books that tell you if you want a romantic partner in your life, presumably because I hope you don't have one, that you better put in your laundry list, tall, bald, author, whatever, what all women want, right? You better put in that laundry list, available and single. What, like the universe needs you to tell them that? Like the universe is like, well, gosh knows what your scruples are, if you have any. I'm just going to grab you the next married man, the next married woman. The universe isn't such a jerk, okay? The universe loves you and knows better than you what you want and is pushing it towards you. But when you speak it, when you create your priorities, when you know what your end results are, and they're wisely stated, by keeping them general, okay? Emotionally packed, generally stated. You can worry about the emotion later. I just don't want you to think that I haven't addressed that. When you keep them general, the universe is like all over it. But you've been taught otherwise. You've been taught to micromanage. You've been taught to say that he must be tall. You've just eliminated, 59% of all eligible bachelors if you insist that they're bald. Now, I know you like bald guys. Bald guys have so much to offer that other guys just don't have, I know you can have your preferences, but leave it as a preference. I want tall or better, as if. I want him to be good in the kitchen or better. I want my career to be travel and creative and filled with laughter or better. Don't insist or attach in any way, shape, or form. Understand this, that the universe is an extension of you. It's you. It's not some Tinkerbell out there. You just don't remember that. But the universe knows well that you are that delegate. You are that volunteer that went out there to join the winner's circle and volunteered to have amnesia, not remembering that you're also everywhere, always at once, pushed on to greatness, inclined to succeed. The universe is like, oh my gosh, I hope little Mikey does okay. I don't want him to be scared. I'm going to be standing by. I got his back. Okay, this is the world you live in. You say happy, the universe knows your brand of happy. It's the ultimate end result, because the only way you are going to be happy, correct me if I'm wrong, is if there's love in your life. The only way you're going to be like, woohoo, happy, is if you're pain-free. That's not to say you can't be happy with a pain in your back, but the universe isn't splitting hairs or playing that stupid game. You can be just joyfully lit. And that kind of joy means you've got purpose, you've got meaning, you've got cash, you've got a home, you've got food, you've got travel. Your kind of happy. What else would your kind of happy be? This is playing the matrix. This is getting into those details. This is making that laundry list for your career, for your rocking life, for your lifestyle, for your recovery, for your health, for your rejuvenation. Then you dress up the end result. The broad brush, rocking life, joyful existence. Then you put in all those details because it's getting the emotion going. This is how you play the matrix. Number one, general broad brush end result. To give the universe infinite latitude to reach you the shortest, quickest, happiest way on your terms. It's not going to say, well, I'm going to make you really happy and really rich, but you're going to be, in some field that you have no passion for. It's like, no, you're going to have the rocking field and the best partner and the best disposition and the best health. That's what true happiness implies. When you go broad brush, the only way it can be brought to pass and your thoughts can become things is if all of the cylinders are firing. So the more broad brush, the easier it is. Everything is implied. The universe knows that that means you want health, that you want wealth, that you want friends, that you want laughter, that you want confidence, that you want creativity, that you want fulfillment, that you want purpose. Happiness says it all. It's the ultimate end result. But we have priorities. You might be like, yeah, I want happiness. And you could stop there. But I really want my partner. I really want the pain in my back to go away. I really want creative expression. You can have your priorities. You can have multiple end results at the same time. It's amazing. But let's look and say a priority of yours is rocking health, particularly because you've got a bad knee. Okay, I'm going to give you my bad knee story in the third webinar. But do you realize that if all you did was micromanage to get what you want with regard to health, you'd want to fix that bad knee, but you better not forget ensuring that the good knee doesn't go bad. And what about your other joints? What about your digestive system? And what about your metabolism? And what do you realize if health was your thing and you thought you had to micromanage to get there, you would have to consider every organ, joint, muscle, thing in your entire body. And there's going to be something you forgot. And if God was that kind of juvenile creature that said, you didn't tell me you still wanted your hearing, how could I know? You'd be in big trouble. The safeguard is you go broad brush. Vitality, energy, health and beauty, a rocking physical existence. That implies that your hearing is just fine and you didn't say hearing. And again, now let's go to happiness. Do you realize if you had to micromanage every element, bell and whistle of a rocking, joyful life, including the health in every organ in your body, including all the right friends at all the right times, including the right career, there would be something in the tapestry of your entire life that you would forget. And if you forgot it, based on the old modus operandi where you have to say that your partner should be single, you're going down. You could never micromanage everything. Do you get that? This is why I say, ideally, your end results, not every one of them, you can dabble with micromanagement. You can dabble with a speaking event or the online course or the webinar coming up and imagine that it goes well and imagine that you're getting these amazing comments. You can dabble there, but overall, be in the big picture. And that way you press down, you press backwards, the end result to where you are now, and all of the cylinders are firing. You could never micromanage it all. The only way is you start at the tippy, tippy, tippy top. I want a rocking, joyful, happy life, which implies your hearing is great and everything else is great, because you wouldn't be woo woo happy like you could be. Let's not split hairs and say be happy with these things missing in your life. No, this is not about that kind of happy. Yes, you can be happy at any time right now, and you should be, but we're talking about your wish is the universe's command. Okay, you didn't come here for part-time, sometimes maybe happy. You came here for the full Monty, right? And the way you get it is you start at the tippy, tippy, tippy top. Happiness is the ultimate end result. And then you can come up with 2, 3, or 12 more. There's no limit to how many end results you can have. And you let these other ones be where your priorities are in a broad brush sense. We'll talk about this in webinar 3. We'll talk about the absolute top, surefire 6 categories of your life that if you nail those, you nail everything. And we could say just nail happiness and you nail everything, but I know you have priorities because I still have priorities. And one year or decade, it might be family. Another year, decade, it might be health, it might be recovery, it might be rejuvenation, or it might be finances. You have license to dabble beneath the top, so long as you always consider your joy. Even if it's serving other people, your joy is fundamental. And then you can have other end results. You can even go so far down the ladder as to dabble with really idiosyncratic, is that the right word? You can dabble with idiosyncrasies. You could have a date with Roxanne this weekend, and it's going to be at XYZ restaurant and XYZ show and who knows what after that. You could even try to micromanage a hot date with a specific person if you want. But knowing what we know, that you're careening into the Bermuda Triangle of manifestation, which I'm going to talk about next, and such micromanagement might not pan out for you. If you know that ahead of time and you're not going to beat yourself up afterwards, then you go right ahead and try to micromanage, Roxanne's, smiling face, or Bruno's smiling face, or whatever other body part you want. Okay, you can go ahead and micromanage, but overall, be guided by your happiness, your fulfillment, your broad brush categories, okay? And then dabble with the minutia as much as you like, but if it doesn't pan out, it's not because you aren't a rock star manifester. You are. Don't misunderstand, draw false conclusions, or misjudge your prowess. Just realize, hey, I dabbled in the Bermuda Triangle to maximize chances that Bruno would be all that, and it turns out he's a dud, and that's not me, that's him. Okay? Okay, so I think you got it. Now let me talk about this element of the Bermuda, this concept of the Bermuda Triangle, and what you want to steer clear of. Let me be the first self-improvement metaphysical manifesting guru to tell you some dreams will never come true. I can't tell you what those are, it depends, but some dreams might never come true. And while that might seem like the most negative, weird, freaky thing I've ever said, you'll be on board in 2 seconds. What about when someone has a dream that requires a specific, certain other person to behave in a certain specific other way? In other words, your dream is to manipulate someone into loving you, to giving you money, to not only showing up in your life, but staying in your life and behaving on your terms. That's a dream that might never come true. That could be devastating if you didn't know better and you thought your thoughts could become things to make them love you the way you wanted to be loved. Now, I get you want love, and you can have love, but you can't say who it's coming from. And yes, I'm married, and I want her to love me as much as I love her for the rest of our days. But there's nothing I can do to manipulate her into that. I just have to be my best self, let her be her best self. And every day, every month, every year, every decade, we assess on the fly, is this serving us and our joy and our daughter and all things to the best that it could be? And if not, there could come a time when maybe being alone is better. Maybe being separated is better. Maybe being divorced is better. Maybe marrying somebody else is better, or a million other variations. I'm not there. I'm not going there. And I understand your desire for a one and only true life love, if that's the case. But you simply cannot manipulate other people. The universe can bring you someone, okay, that will blow your mind, someone better than the one you have in mind. But you can't insist that it's them. And that might seem like, no, it's them and I want them. Don't do that to yourself. The same is true when it comes to insisting on how a dream will come true. I want wealth and abundance. I know, I'll write a book. Oprah will love it. I'll be on TV, sell 1 million copies, and live happily ever after. The dream of wealth and abundance is now demanding, based on that scenario, that you write a best-selling book that Oprah loves, that Oprah chooses, that everyone in the audience wants a copy of. Your whole life is now hinging on specific people in mass behaving a certain way. You, instead of saying wealth and abundance, show me the money universe, and then write the book, do the job, start the business, knock on a variety of doors, or write 2 or 3 books, teach writing, be in that world. I'm not saying you can't be a writer, but what I am saying is don't link one dream to another dream. Dream of being a writer, if that's what you really love, and you're not just doing it to make $1 million, dream of being a writer and dream of wealth and abundance, but don't make one how the other comes to pass. Because if you're all wrapped up in one path, one how, you will unwittingly prevent divine intelligence from reaching you with other better, quicker, faster ways. And that doesn't take away from your writing, which you're going to do anyway because you love, or not. Don't do it anymore. Okay, so don't insist on specific people behaving specific ways. Don't insist on a specific how your dream will come true because you limit others. And don't attach to unimportant details. I mean, I know I've taught imagining and visualizing details. I still do. There's no contradiction. I just advocate now very specifically that you not attach to the detail, attach to the big picture, wealth and abundance. So you might want $1 million by year end, and you can visualize that, but it might come quicker, or it might need to come to you February 7th, because your mom's going to be sick and you're going to have other priorities and other needs, and it just can't happen on December 31, and divine intelligence knows that, but you're putting everything and telling everybody it's December 31 because my thoughts become things and Mike Dooley said so, and it's going to happen on January 1. You're going to feel like a failure. And you're not. The universe needed more time. But because you're so deflated and not having met that deadline that you told the entire world about come January 1 and nothing showed up and your mom's sick, fortunately she recovered, you will have lost so much enthusiasm and optimism and belief in yourself that now February 7th is no longer an option. You're not going to get it at all because you limited divine intelligence. You misunderstood the logistics of miracles. And now you're feeling deflated and defeated, not believing at all in yourself. You're not even trying because the things you thought would work out aren't working out. Is that a scary story? Don't go to the Bermuda Triangle of manifestation. Okay? Do not attach to unimportant details. Okay, bells, whistles, brands, a certain house on a certain hill, leave it open for better. You want a house just like that, with a view just like that, that will make you and your family happier than you can even imagine. It might be a different town. It might be time to move coast, or it might be that house. I'm not saying you can't visualize that house. I'm saying don't attach to that house. This third corner of the Bermuda Triangle is do not attach. I didn't say don't visualize. Do not attach and insist upon unimportant details. And you will come to see by the end of this web series that all details are unimportant. They're sexy. They're awesome. They're rich and juicy, and they will always be in your life. But never will a detail be more valuable than the big picture end result that it's a part of. It's a detail. Details are a dime a dozen. Let me clarify. I said don't attach or insist on specific people behaving specific ways. There will be specific people in your rocking, amazing life. There's nothing wrong with specific people unless you're attached to them behaving a certain way. I said don't attach or insist to how your dream will come true, but there will be a how your dream will come true. There's nothing wrong with hows, nothing at all. Until you attach to one, you exclude the others. And your life will always be filled with juicy, sexy details. Please visualize the details. I'm here, I'm flying first class, I'm wearing gold, I have stocks, just got some more Bitcoin. I'm going to the Four Seasons. I'm going to go to Maui. I love my home in London. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a foundation. I'm going to double my contributions. Visualize those details. Don't attach to the details. Do you see how simple that is? I know at first glance, it's like, what? Wait a minute. I feel like a yo-yo. It's so easy. So there will always be who's and how's and the bling, the details in your life. Ain't nothing wrong with them. Don't insist or attach. That's what the matrix is about. Do not insist or attach to the details, the bling. It's about have a broad brush, big picture. Insist on the end result, the general end result. Do not insist on who shows up, how you get there, or the bells and whistles involved. And actually, I've delivered this so many times. It might be better stated to call it the Bermuda Pentagon. The Pentagon, a five-sided shape, like the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Okay, it's kind of like a star shape, 5 sides. Okay, who's, how's, details, when's, and where's. The when's, timelines. You can put yourself under a deadline. I'm going to write a chapter a month. I do that all the time. But don't put a time frame, a deadline on the magic. Don't ever. I already told you why. The little story, maybe the universe is like, I can bring you $1 million by February 7th, but I cannot do it based on your other dreams and desires, based on what's going on in the trajectory, projected lives of loved ones. I cannot do it by December 31, said divine intelligence. But February 7th, if you keep the faith, you don't hear that conversation. You put everything on December 31. It doesn't happen. You're deflated. You don't believe in yourself. Now you need 20 more life coaches and 20 more workshops. No, you didn't. It was a sure thing, February 7th, but you put a deadline on the magic, not knowing any better. And now you feel defeated. So the Pentagon, the who's, the how's, the details, the when's, and while we're at it, the where's. You know, it might not be that house on the hill. It'll be another hill. It might be in another city. It might be in another state. It might be in another country. That's even better than where you are now. And here's the beauty of the matrix. We're not excluding Rocky or Bruno from rocking your life. We're not excluding your book from being the possible way the universe and Oprah come into your life. We're not saying you can't have that house on the hill or other blings and details. We're not taking anything off the table. You can visualize all those bells and whistles. Just don't attach to them. I'm repeating myself. It's worth it. I've delivered this indirectly to over 1 million people. Everyone gets it because it's echoed in all else. It's just that no one has specifically spoken to your end results ought to be generally stated, and thereby you give divine intelligence infinite latitude to show up in a quicker time schedule than you even knew to ask for, with better who's, how's, when's, and all that stuff. It's really cool. It's really fun. And I have even more to share with you. But let me summarize the 3 steps of playing the matrix that begin with today's topic, knowing what you really want. Happiness, friends, laughter, health, fulfillment, creative expression. You could list 10 more. And in fact, in the next webinar, I'm going to list the top 6. So knowing what you really want will always be broad brush. How many books are there on living deliberately, creative visualization, metaphysical mastery, right? Endless. How many of them tell you the importance of starting out with a wisely defined end result? AKA destination and GPS navigation, AKA that happiness is the ultimate end result. They might add happiness is the ultimate end result because material things don't matter. Bull crap. You're a material thing. Half of your desires are supposed to be material. You came here to live in these glorious, awesome, rocking, luscious, spiritual illusions. It's all spirit. It's all God. Even the money in your purse, your bank account, digital or otherwise, it's all God. You can have it. Happiness is the ultimate end result, in part because it'll make you rich. Okay, I know that could be taken out of context. Please don't do that. But because it commands that all of the cylinders are firing, including financial wealth. Number one, know what you want. It's a matter of your priorities. You want happiness. You want friends. You want laughter. You want healing. You want pain-free living. You're there. I knew it. Now you know it. Number two, because we're now dealing with this oddity of generally stated end results, and because you by now already know the power that emotion packs, it's the turbocharger of all manifestations. We are kind of at crossed odds here. General end results, joy, money, a lot of friends. That's hard to get emotionally jazzed about, like, woo, woo. Nothing like, international first class travel with lay flat sleeper seats on Lufthansa, baby, surrounded by Trixie, Roxy, and we're going to Kathmandu, and then we're going to go to Tahiti for a little chilling, and then we're going to go to Cairo, and then I'm going to go back and write my next book on blubbity, blubbity, blub. Now, step two of playing the matrix is have these priority areas that probably don't stimulate a lot of woohoo. So dress them up with details. Trixie, Blixie, Cairo, London, first class. And it doesn't have to be financial stuff. Excuse me, just replace those with health and friends and laughter and service. It works the same. Whatever your desire is, you want to save the world, go save the world. You want to live in wealth and abundance, go live in wealth and abundance. It's all holy and sacred. So step two is get into the juicy details, creative visualization, vision boards, all the stuff you've already done and mastered. Affirmations. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. What a great book that is. There's so much other stuff out there. You can just plug it into the matrix. The only difference now is that your guiding light is this general life category, and you can attach to it. You can insist upon nothing less. But with all the details, you're going to visualize them and post them on pictures, but you're going to leave room for better in every single case. Done. That's the matrix. That or better. This vacation or better. This rocking body or better. This career or better. This book or better. You're just leaving room for the universe to surprise you with the unexpected and go in realms that you couldn't even have conceived of, but it could, and it's on your team. Now we've left the door open for even better than we knew to ask for. The end result, and here's a little funny thing. People say, attachment is your problem. You're so attached to the outcome. That makes sense to the old schoolers who are micromanaging their life. They're attached to the deadline. They're attached to the partner. They're attached to the corner office. They're attached to the diet. They're attached to a lot of old adages. Make sense, seemingly contradicting this new approach of general end results. But they're not for you with your general end results. They're for the old schoolers. Okay? And, vision boards, that's all about the details. It's how you use your vision board. Is your vision board exciting you about life transformation in the realm of career and happiness and travel? Rocket fuel. Or is your vision board all about micromanaging that house, this kitchen, that partner, this vacation? It's all in how you look at it. There are no contradictions in this approach that I'm giving you, playing the matrix, to old school bits of advice. Tell God your plans if you want him to laugh. You know that old Yiddish proverb? Most people's plans are their life. They're micromanagers. Turn the plan over to divine intelligence. Only know the destination, knock on different doors, show up on different paths, see what works, see what puts a smile on your heart. God wouldn't laugh anyway. But do you see these old adages apply to the old schoolers who are micromanaging. There's no contradictions. Okay, so step 2 is you dress up the generality with details like you're so good at. You just don't make the details your end results. The end results are the generalities. The details come and go. They're a dime a dozen. Visualize them. You can even visualize certain people behaving certain ways, but leave room for better. I know you don't want your partner to find out there's room for better. But we're not taking your partner out of the picture, right? We can call from them their highest and finest behavior that would be in alignment with your dreams by leaving the door open and you working on your joy and your happiness and you visualizing their behavior in pleasing terms. You just can't attach to their behavior. Step 3 of playing the matrix. Car and gear, show up, show up, show up, but do not mess with the cursed house. Now, that's an oxymoron if I ever heard one. We hear again and again, take inspired action. We hear again and again, take massive action. And in metaphysical circles, don't worry about how. Don't mess with the cursed house, Mike Dooley says. But if I'm taking action down that path over there, doesn't that mean I'm automatically messing with the cursed house? If I'm on a path, I'm on a how. And you said, don't mess with the house, turn it over to the universe. I did. I said also, show up down any sucky path. And of course, don't choose sucky paths if you've got yellow brick roads. But if you had yellow brick roads, you wouldn't be trying to manifest something that you don't have. You'd be just taking that yellow brick road, right? So the thing, here it is. The thing that makes a cursed how is not what you do. It's how you view why you did it. You can rewind that, but I'll tell you, a cursed how is a cursed how, not for what you do, but for why you did it. If you wrote that book, and that's what you're putting all of your energy in, and that book is your ticket to Oprah and millions and a rocking life, that book is a cursed how. But if you wrote that book, that exact same book, and it was one way your dream might come true, and you're also thinking about the second book, and you're also thinking about and or working your own business, and or you're also inventing that board game, or you're also asking for a raise from your employer, or you're also dabbling in other areas that your life and expressions and creativity and fulfillment can come to pass through, then that book is one of many. Now that book is not attached to. Now that book is not the linchpin. Now that book is not a must-have. Now you're not carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you're probably going to write a much better book. I have never said don't write that book. Write that book, but don't exclude other ways that either abundance or fortune or whatever it is you wanted to come from that book can come to you, because it can come a number of other ways. Stoke many fires within reason, within your inclinations and your attributes and your passions and your desires. Try knock on many doors, okay? Or several doors. I never said I'm going to be a writer. I've always thought I would write a book one day, and I tried for decades and it never worked, but I never said this is it. And that left room for me to dabble with the internet. That left room for me to dabble with public speaking. That left room for me to do some joint venturing and some affiliate work and some investing and some dabbling here and dabbling there. Thank God I never said it has to come from writing. We think that's how I'll do it. Now I have a plan. And then we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders and limit divine intelligence. So you're off the hook. You can dabble, you can putz around, you can create. I'm not saying do it half-assed. If you're going to go down that path, be amazing. But that doesn't mean you got to work 60 hours a week. You can do 10 hours a week on that path, 20 hours on this path, 35 hours on that path, or however else you can afford to enjoy the journey. Diversify. The more different things you do, the more you become a lightning rod for faster manifestations being available, you being available to the magic and miracles. So, a cursed how is never defined by what you do. There's no such thing as, oh, that person, by virtue of what they're doing a cursed how. There's no such thing. It's how you view it. Are you attached? Are you adamant? Are you insistent that that path turn into the yellow brick road? It's a cursed how. Same path, same steps, but a different perspective. It might be that path. I'm leaving the door open for even better. Might be that path, might be that path. Maybe it's a path I haven't come across yet, but I'm going to roll up my sleeves and do the best I can with what I've got from where I'm at. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to be available. Then no path would ever be construed as a cursed how. And one day when you have found a path you love, as I have now, and a path that checks all the boxes financially, fulfillment, creativity, etc., then you can disregard all the other paths. But ironically now, I have my fingers in a lot of pies. I do a lot of things. I would never want to just say, this is all I'm going to do forever. Never. And neither should we do that at the beginning of a journey, not in the name of dedication, not in the name of watch me, I'm burning my bridges, not in the name of heroics or drama. It'll get you nowhere. Okay? So the 3 steps of playing the matrix, which will help you have your wishes granted by the universe. Number 1, define what you want in terms of the end result, generally stated. You can have several end results. Your little mapping of the future is going to help you out. Number 2, dress it up. Dress up that future priority area, whether it's dressing up happiness. What is that going to look like for you? A happy life, what does that look like? Where do you go? Who do you hang out with? What do you wear? What occupies the most hours in your life? Dress it up. Dress it up on a vision board. However, get into the details, but don't attach to the details. Do attach to the priority area. There's a lot of ways to get there, not to the details. So now you're getting visualization, thoughts become things, massive emotion, so much excitement over the generality. Woo! Unstoppable. And step 3 of playing the matrix is you show up, taking steps that you don't insist upon. They just make the most sense and they feel the best. Those are the pathways, the doors to knock on, the stones to turn over. Take action, but don't mess with the cursed house, which simply means try a variety of different things, different pathways, insisting upon none. Fellow adventurers, I hope you're having as much fun as I am. Clearly, I could talk about this, and I plan to forevermore. We've reviewed those 3 steps, some common manifesting mistakes, timelines, deadlines, we talked about it. People forgetting how inclined they are to succeed. Remember from webinar 1, your positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than your negative thoughts. Therefore, don't worry that you worry. Don't worry. You're not being held to some incredibly impossible standard, some goody two-shoes, some got to be positive all the time. Just do your best. Do your best. Keep showing up. Be immersed in truth, and you're going to get it. Don't believe that God tests you. There's no tests. What a silly concept. What would he be testing you for? To see if you're good enough, worthy enough, what enough? You are God. God's not going to test God. There are lessons in life that we choose because we want to bust a move and rock it this way, rock it that way, have all of the things that we dream of. So we have to learn lessons we choose. There are lessons. Don't think though, otherwise that, life is just nonstop lessons. It's learning and learning. The lessons get easier and easier the more immersed in truth you are, as you can suspect based on what we've talked about in these 2 first webinars. Okay, so number 1, there's no tests. There's no test. Tests would interfere with your free will and your thoughts becoming things. Yes, there are lessons, but you choose them and you can change your mind and you can pace yourself. These are examples of how people give their power away. God is not deciding what's best for you when, and neither is your higher self. A question I used to have is like, what if I want this, but my higher self thinks that's better for me? Your higher self, first of all, God wanted to grow and expand, and doing so decided to be you. You are who God most wanted to be. That's how you got here. You being your higher self, and your higher self most wanted to be your street level self, fill in the blank, your name right here. Okay, that's what they wanted, for you to be you. Now the baton has been passed. Don't think divine intelligence or your higher self is going to jump in the path, and they can't, and stop your thoughts from becoming things. You're good to go. You're solid gold. Pass go and collect $2 billion. Karma and ancient spiritual contracts, people give their power away there all the time. The idea of soulmates as well. There are no limit to the number of soulmates you can have. Thinking that there's one right and all others are wrong, that's devastating and debilitating, and it's never been true. Karma and ancient spiritual contracts, oh, there is something there, but they never steal your ability to freely choose new thoughts and bring them to pass. You have the ultimate magic wand. You override karma. You take yourself off any karmic wheel, the more you move with truth and love and kindness, no matter what the score was. Karma is not a score thing, although that's how it's taught. Ancient spiritual contracts, they exist, and we either rewrite them every morning at dawn, or we change them, or we say, no, I changed my mind. There's no ancient spiritual contract that you are beholden to other than you living life on your terms now, which is the best way to enrich the lives of those you love. Follow your heart. Those are some little tangents I wanted to kind of touch on, because too often people think, yeah, thoughts become things and happiness is the end result. But, you know, I got karma, baby. I was a pirate in my last lifetime. I know it. I got to pay some dues. No. All right, let's see here. Well, I can't wait for the third webinar. And boy, is there stuff to go through. I told you, one of the biggest challenges we all have is that we want stuff because it's not in our life. And sometimes the more you want it, it's because it's so missing in our life. Like, you know, pain, and you want healing. How do you envision pain? I mean, how do you envision a healed, pain-free life when you're in excruciating pain right now? How do you envision wealth and abundance when the bill collector's calling every single day? How do you imagine clarity when you feel confused? How do you imagine, fill in the blank, go ahead, fill in the blank, when the opposite is breathing down your neck? That's what the third webinar is about. And by hanging in, well, I shouldn't say that, by being there and soaking it all up, you will find out how to become eligible for a one-on-one coaching session with yours truly. I hope it's you. You're my favorite student. Okay, so we're going to go into the top 6 coolest areas of life to give you a royal, full, straight flush. We're going to talk about what those areas are, and I'm going to give you some stories in each that I think you're going to get a kick out of. Continue posting below. I love your comments. I'm grateful for them. Post your questions as well. I will do my best to get to as many as possible. Let's see. Fellow adventurers, keep your eyes peeled for the email that will soon follow, that will give you your integrative exercise mapping the future, including the Matrix herself. Fellow adventurers, your dreams are not yours by accident. And no, not everybody wants the same thing, not even close. Yours are yours for a reason. And that reason is for you to bring them to pass. And doing so, you're going to find out how powerful you are. You're going to find out how divine you are. You're going to find out how magnificent this world is, that you've always been pushed on to greatness, and that you play your life out in the heart of God. Do you know what's better than getting to the top of the mountain, the metaphorical mountain, living the life of your wildest dreams, loved and in love? Do you know what's better than getting there? Getting there after first having been lost. So lost that you thought that day might never arrive. Can you imagine how sweet that will be? It is written. Your dreams are yours to make them come true. And you're never given a dream that you can't make come true. Look for your email, write your questions, post below, share your epiphanies and weather conditions hovering overhead. And I can't wait to see you for the third of the 3 free webinars that make up Your Wish is the Universe's Command.